meet on Mondays. We're at episode 10, everyone.
Woo!
Jazz hands.
Double digits. Jazz hands.
Yes. I'm Christina.
And I'm Jo.
And we're As One Creative, together, our choreographic partnership. And today we want to talk about what it means to let yourself be a beginner in dance, in life, in anything you do.
That may or may not be an idea that you've heard of before, but I remember the first time I heard someone say, well, just let yourself be a beginner, I went into my head and went, hang on a second. I'm not sure that I can unknow or undo what I've done, what I've learned, what I've gathered already, and I'm not even sure that I want to. But stay with us. What we're talking about is not letting go of the knowledge that you've accrued. It's about letting go of some of the pressure and the expectation that sometimes builds on this path to progress. And we generally see our learning experience as a path of progress, moving forward, gathering those experiences as we go along. The thing about gathering experience is it can be something that you can tap into and draw from that's a solid and supportive knowledge base. Or sometimes it can pop up looking like a little fear-based character, like that fear character in the movie Inside Out, which I thought was brilliant.
Don't do it.
Not this.
I was telling you something that was...
Yes, that, not this.
Yes.
When you have maybe something that didn't feel so good attached to a memory that's logged in your experience bank somewhere, your memory bank somewhere, where you've done something, oh, when I did that didn't feel good last time. So fear pops up as we're going in to do it again. And of course, we're going to meet some experiences a few times on our path. That's just how it goes.
Yes.
But often the memory or the energy that pops up around it can be not so great. So we're not talking about undoing any of this knowledge. What we actually want to talk about is there's something that we know in the energy of being a beginner,
right,
that we can continue to know and take with us each step along the way.
And we're not asking you to go back to square one. We're just asking you to maybe remember some of the magic that was held back there, some of the openness, some of the excitement that you had when you were a beginner learning at first.
Absolutely. So say with a beginner looking up to an advanced.
Oh yeah, you always have somewhere to aspire to be. You're like, oh, that's why I'm doing all these tandus. That's why I continue to do this bar work. And as like crazy as it may make you sometime, you know that with this foundation that you're laying, with this experience, you can get to that.
We're looking forward to see what's possible. Yes, so there's definitely that way of modeling. It's seeing what's possible in somebody else's experience, and while you can't learn from somebody else's experience, you can definitely become aware of more options that are perhaps available to you than you may have had in your head and those memory banks we were talking about already. What we want to suggest is that just as much as that's an important part of looking forward and having that drive to push, expand, grow, perhaps there's an equal amount of value in looking back at what it was to be a beginner, what there is caught up in the energy of being a beginner, not pulling out skills and not taking them with you and unpicking them, but more a case of, was there a magic? Was there something about being a beginner that you can take with you? Not back at square one, but every square.
Every step of the way.
Right.
For example, when we have, we'll say in the convention world, you have the beginner, intermediate, advanced, or junior, teen, senior. And as a beginner, you come in with the excited, I'm ready to go, and oh, my friends are here, and this is going to be like a weekend party, and I can't wait to cheer and learn something cool and see those teachers on stage that I've seen on TV, or there's so much excitement. And then as you get into the next level, you're a little more apprehensive from the things you've possibly learned as an intermediate student, still looking at what you want to be doing in the advanced room. And then you get to the advanced room and all of a sudden there becomes this sort of reserve. And even though you might be stepping forward into the room and ready to learn, you're still taking with you that, well, I have to get this, or maybe I'm here just for the scholarship and I have to get that scholarship this time, or I'm going to be the best in the room because I want, you have an agenda. You have an agenda.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's that experience that we talked about before, where you've accrued some memories of what this is like, but you've also accrued some shoulds. Mm-hmm. You've also accrued some expectations. And often what those shoulds and those expectations turn into is pressure, which when you're a beginner, and it's not about age, it's not about being young or old, it's the energy of being a beginner. You don't have those shoulds and expectations. You go in with much more freedom, much more openness, much more interest in just being present, while you might not necessarily call it that, but with far less to lose, because in that moment you haven't shoulded on yourself. You're not carrying a number, a number of expectations and a measuring stick. That pressure can sometimes be a good thing. It's like when adrenaline meets drive, and it's kind of like this rocket fuel moving you forward towards what it is that you want to do and where it is you want to be. When the pressure also has a flip side, and when the pressure sort of flips around, sometimes the pressure can become so great that it can stop you in your tracks and can cause you to implode or just stop for fear of moving forward. It's very smothering. When the shoulds, it's almost like the shoulds and all the expectations box you in and stop you from any progress in either direction. So what it really boils down to, we've talked about the couple of different types of pressure and the expectation and the shoulds that go along with one, and then the adrenaline rocket fuel version of the other. The difference between the two is staying connected to the joy of the beginner in you.
Right.
The part of you that remembers the lightness, that remembers the potential for excitement, that remembers the freedom.
Right, which is why we always say, when something feels stressful, when something feels difficult, when you feel that pressure on you, you have to remember why you started. Take yourself back to that moment. Maybe if we're still talking about dance convention, when you walked into that room as an 8 or 9 year old and you saw that teacher, that assistant that was from your favorite music video, and you're like, that's what I want to be. I remember that. And you weren't letting all those barriers come between you and what you wanted.
Oh, beautiful. And it's not about letting yourself off the hook. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying every time you walk in, forget everything that you know already and stop holding yourself accountable to the tough steps of progress. It's not about making excuses or letting yourself off the hook. It's about letting go of the pressure and the judginess. And part of me will be freed up and much more accessible if I remember to let myself be in that energy.
Right. When you're at ease, you can call into action all the things that are really going to be valuable in your journey, rather than having those barriers and holding yourself back from the pressure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So our invitation is, let yourself be a beginner.